Hello, and welcome to season 4 of the State of Healthcare podcast. I can't believe it's actually season 4. I feel like we've just gotten started, and to be honest, we are just barely scratching the surface of so many issues in healthcare, or just even things that I feel like people should know about. This season, we are talking about autoimmune disorders, the not so hidden epidemic. For so long, these have been labeled a diagnosis as exclusion, right? So many people were seen as crazy, or they just, were whining about these things that people were like, oh, just push through it. But I feel like now we are starting to realize that so many more people have this, whether we're better at diagnosing or more people are having these particular disorders occurring. It could be a combo. That's what we're going to discuss and try to look into this season. So if you've ever felt like you have this cluster of symptoms, or you don't know what's going on, or you feel like your body is even fighting itself, feel free to tune in. This is kind of a learning process. It's learning how to modulate your flares, learning what that is, where can you get help. So come with me on this journey. Autoimmune disorders, the not so hidden epidemic. Hi, and welcome back. We are at our second episode after the break from the State of Healthcare podcast. We are talking all things autoimmune. And so today I have Elizabeth with me, and I'm going to actually just let you tell your story.
Yeah, I'm Elizabeth. I pole dance. That's how I know Tracy. She's my PT. I don't know where I should start.
Well, and again, I feel like this has kind of been a year of self-discovery for
Oh
you,
yeah,
right? So maybe we talk about the hypermobile stuff.
yeah. Okay, great. So I think I haven't been diagnosed yet, but I'm on the wait list
Right.
to be diagnosed with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos, which I think would make a lot of sense
Right.
if I had that. Um, Learning what I know about me and talking to my mom about it and stuff from when I was a kid.
Right.
She told me recently that when I was little, a doctor told her that my tendons are like loose rubber bands and they don't hold my muscles together.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, that's EDS.
Right.
Like, I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
That would have helped to know.
And you also did PT as
And I did PT as a child too, and like occupational therapy too.
uh,
hmm
and
Um,
a lot of it was like stability
it
and
was.
okay.
I also learned recently, which I didn't know, that I couldn't walk up the stairs very well by
Okay.
myself,
Uh-huh.
and I would fall over and not be able to get back up by
Oh.
myself. And so I
Uh-huh.
was afraid of rowdy kids, and the doctor thought it was partially because I didn't want to get stuck on the ground,
Oh
which is so
gosh.
sad.
Right.
I also skipped like a developmental stage,
Okay.
so I didn't ever go from laying to it was I think laying to sitting or sitting to standing.
Okay.
Sitting to standing by myself, I would
Okay.
just be like up, and my mom would pick me up because she didn't know any better.
Okay.
And so then
Mm-hmm.
we were like, oh, like I didn't learn to do that myself. So I had like
Right.
trampoline therapy,
Okay.
and they had to like get my muscles stronger so
Uh-huh.
that they would like hold my body together,
Okay.
which
Right.
is all this.
Right.
But like my mom's like, I don't think there was a word for it.
Yeah.
So
I
we just didn't know
uh-huh.
until like now.
Right. And again, so I have to compliment you and the fact that like you do amazing things, right?
Thank
You've
you.
got
I
dance and
try.
you perform and you do pole and all of this stuff, right? So you
Mhm.
take this body that's like these
Yes.
things, but then again, it's like why? So that's part of a little bit like why do I have flare-ups? Why does stuff happen? Like
hmm
because again, I think you've learned how to use your body,
hmm
but
And the reason I started dancing was
Mhm.
actually because of a PT who I
Oh,
had when I was a baby.
uh-huh,
She was
uh-huh,
like, I was
mhm,
going into first grade, and she was like, you need an activity that you do
uh-huh.
to like keep your muscles strong, basically.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I was underweight, so they'd give me those like shakes, like protein shakes and stuff.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, but she was like, you need an activity, and I am not a
Uh-huh.
sports person, so I was like, okay,
Okay.
I'll dance. And then I
Right.
danced forever after
Okay.
that.
And still
So, and I
dancing.
still danced.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, and I like that.
Yeah, and I
So,
was like uncoordinated. I know my grandma said to me at one point, she was like, "Yeah, you used to like just have all these like PT issues, and now you're just doing all this dancing, and you're so
mhm,
coordinated." And she
right.
thought that was cool. So,
No, and again, I like to look at it. So here's the hard part, right? Again, you start out this way and you've learned to function and you've learned to do these things.
hmm
But now, like, your body still has things that you
hmm
get to work on, right? There's moments when you're like, why is happening here? And sometimes the hard part of where you're at is it's almost an advantage, right? You're like, oh,
hmm
I can, my joints bend so far the other way. I'm very bendy,
hmm
right? Which is perfect. But then, like, I kind of like we talked about, even when you sent me a video and you're like, look at this girl. And I'm like, look at her
I know,
elbows.
I
Her elbows are bent the
know. They
wrong
were like,
way. Yeah. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
so, starting your PT journey here, like kind of refresh back, like what happened
Hmm.
here? Like what made you see PT now?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I think the first thing was my elbow pain
Mm-hmm.
during competition. I was practicing. I
Mm-hmm.
basically learned with you that I learned how to do everything in an easier way that
Uh-huh.
didn't really use my muscles properly. So it was like pole competition, and I
Uh-huh.
was doing the same moves over and over, and I got tennis elbow, and then
Uh-huh.
started having all these other issues with my knees and all this other
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and learned that I don't really do things
Uh-huh.
properly.
Okay. Well, and I
Um,
wouldn't even say like I guess you've
Kind
learned
of.
how to use if your muscles are like a rubber band that's not like
Hmm.
holding you, right? Or
Yeah.
like the rubber band's like too loosey-goosey,
Hmm.
then your joints are going to take the brunt because you
Hmm.
lock out your joints to provide you
Hmm.
the stability that your muscles aren't. So I think you even compared it once to like you feel like you're having to learn everything all over
I
again.
am, which is so weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I remember specifically one time I was asking you, like, oh, when you lay on the ground and you do these fun things with your
Uh-huh.
legs and pull, do you use your abs? And you were like, of course you use your abs. And I'm like, oh, I'm not using my abs at all.
No, and again, sometimes it's things we take for granted,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of people actually don't. So
Yeah.
again,
Because I can just slouch and do things and not
right.
engage anything.
Right. And again, that's the thing. We all learn
Yeah.
patterns, right? Like
Yeah.
our body will figure out how to get us there.
Hmm.
What it does is unfortunately does set us up for long-term issues, right? So you get away with it for so long.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden your body's like, well, we've done that. And you may have gotten away with it for a while, but you were competing. So you
Hmm.
had to repetitively do something, right?
Hmm.
And your body was like, no,
Yeah.
like we've relied on this joint too long.
Hmm.
So I think that's where sometimes you can get away with something until like, and then like you try, like even the one night you tried a bunch of new skills and then you're
Hmm.
like, why is this hurting? And
Oh,
you're
yep.
like,
And then my wrist hurt for like 2 weeks.
kind of like, look at your positions and these things. So
Yeah.
again, it's just the long-term goals is obviously protecting your spine and things like that. But
Hmm.
you've also been going through like a jaw
I
issue.
have, and I'm not wearing it right now. I should be, but I'm
You're totally
kidding.
fine. We're
Um,
recording. You're
yes.
fine.
So my jaw, so
Hmm.
all of my joints are extra flexible,
Hmm.
including my jaw.
Hmm.
So there's the top part of your jaw, which is connected to your skull, and the bottom
Uh-huh.
part of your jaw is a different joint. And there's a plate between those joints,
Hmm.
and mine is slipped way into the back.
Okay.
So it's bone against bone. And whenever I use my jaw, it's bone against bone, and that's grinding down the bones.
Uh-huh.
And if I didn't fix it, I would get jaw arthritis. And
Right.
I'm 29, I don't want arthritis.
Right. Well, and
I feel like
again,
I'm too young, but like, I don't know.
well, now you're trying to prevent, and
I
it's something
am.
people probably wouldn't even think about, but you were getting
I was
headaches
getting
and
headaches that would last days.
uh-huh.
I was getting ringing in my ears.
Uh-huh.
Um, that was only one ear, and
Uh-huh.
it was very weird. And I never had that before, and then I had it 4 times in 1 week.
Uh-huh.
So I went to all these different doctors, my normal
Mm-hmm.
doctor, and then a hearing doctor, did a hearing test. That was fine.
Mm-hmm.
They sent me to a TMJ doctor. They did an x-ray and they were like, yeah, your jaw is out of place and it's causing all
Mm-hmm.
these other issues. So I
Right.
have this jaw splint that I've been wearing for the
Uh-huh.
past 2 months
That's
all
supposed to
day
kind of
except
like
when I'm
correct.
eating. And
Right.
it pushes my lower jaw forward
Okay.
so that it can be in place.
Okay. But it's kind of retraining your body
Uh-huh, on
because again,
how
you're
to talk
yeah, or how to
and
even
how to
like
move.
yeah.
How to yawn. When I open my mouth, I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that normally my jaw will go kind of diagonally to the
Mm-hmm.
side, and now it doesn't always do that. If I think about it, I can go
Okay.
straight open, which is
Right.
cool. But my jaw would lock every time I would go to the dentist,
Oh,
or
okay.
sometimes when I would yawn. If my
Uh-huh.
mouth was too open, it would get stuck.
Stuck. Okay.
And one time at the TMJ doctor, it got stuck, and we had to massage it for 5 minutes to get my jaw to
Mm-hmm.
close, which was kind
Right.
of scary.
No, I mean, unfortunately, it just happened with TMJ stuff,
Yeah.
right? So, but yours got you there because you're drunk, you were so flexible,
Hmm.
things weren't controlling. Like, again, most of us rely on our muscles around the jaw to
Hmm.
hold them where they need to be.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't even think about that when they think of hypermobility. They think of
Hmm.
like the bendy elbows and the bendy knees. You don't even think about what it would
Your
affect.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Why is this happening? But so that's one of their cons. And so I think that's hard is like in your mind, you're like, why do I have to go through all these things? Like, why
Uh-huh.
did life give me this? That but you've done so well with being like, okay, well, I'll just work on this or I'll
Thank you.
try like so I gotta compliment you because again, you're still doing amazing things with all of that. And I'm also very glad that the PT when you were younger told you to do dance.
Yeah.
So yay.
Yeah.
And then talk to me a little bit about the journey you've been working on. I know you're on a wait list. Like, what have
Hmm.
you been working on your like hypermobility like diagnosis journey?
Yeah. I guess I'll say really quickly one other thing that I thought of is when I
Yeah.
was in high school,
Hmm.
my knees would bother me and I had to
Uh-huh.
wear knee braces every time I danced because they
Okay.
would pop out of place.
Okay.
And then I also had plantar fasciitis in my
Okay.
feet when I
Uh-huh.
was like 15. And I used
Uh-huh.
to get really bad growing pains. I feel like when my
Uh-huh.
bones were growing or I had a growth spurt, that would really hurt. And I know now that that's like all related to it too.
Right.
But the long journey of everything, I feel like it's been months. I had
Right.
all of the jaw things that
Uh-huh.
happened, and then I got on a wait list to see a doctor who specializes in
Hmm.
this. And I'm still on the wait list, but now I'm moved up to the high priority wait list, so
Okay.
that's exciting.
And that's Dr. Saperstein,
It
correct?
is. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah. So he is, one of the best out here. So
Hmm.
that's kind of exciting that you're moving up
It
the
is.
chain. But it does also show what happens with like when you have a list of symptoms that don't really match anything, like all the
Hmm.
stuff you're like, well, I go to this, then I go to this, then I go to this,
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
you're on the high priority thing. So
I
just
am.
waiting.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just waiting right now.
Uh-huh.
I started doing acupuncture, which I
Okay.
feel like helps, and my
Right.
acupuncturist is also hypermobile EDS.
Right. So that
So
helps.
that's great because
Uh-huh.
she's like teaching me things.
Uh-huh.
She had a big list of resources for me, which was super
Perfect.
great because it's like
Uh-huh.
this stuff is hard to find access to.
Yeah.
Um, I bought a book about it. It hasn't arrived yet, but I'm excited to like learn more
Right.
about how things work. Um,
And again, I'll probably annoy her for resources as she,
oh
right?
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
it's
always
great.
wanting to learn. So when you were saying that, my brain was like, hmm.
Yes, I have a big list now. I
Okay,
can send
perfect.
you.
Well, and it's good now because again, when we say autoimmune, the not so silent epidemic,
Hmm.
it feels like one of those things. Like when I first got out of PT school, there you had a few people with fibromyalgia,
Hmm.
and now there's like this whole thing that was probably there, but we just
Hmm.
like people just suffered in silence, maybe,
Hmm.
or they just like chronic pain people that were on medications and stuff. And now
Hmm.
I feel like people are trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and I saw on a video from Dr.
Uh-huh.
Saperstein basically saying most people who have hypermobile EDS are women who get diagnosed in their late 20s, early 30s, which is
Okay,
me,
right.
who either do dance, gymnastics, or ice skating growing up
Oh,
because they're
interesting.
naturally good at it, so they
Right.
gravitate towards those things. Which I was
Interesting.
like, that's cool. That's me
Right.
too. And just everything
Uh-huh.
was like, oh, yep, that's
Right.
relatable. That's
Okay.
relatable. And then just listing certain things
Uh-huh.
that you didn't think about, like, oh, did you do tricks as a kid and like show off? And I was like, yeah, I could like do this thing with my elbow and I can
Uh-huh.
make my thumb
Thumb touch
touch
grass.
my arm and,
Uh-huh.
all those little like body trick things that
Right.
most people can't do.
Right. That's
But I'm just flexible. And I was like, yes, that's another
uh-huh.
thing. I'm also this.
Right.
But it
Okay.
relates to so much. It also has to do with I've had stomach issues my whole life. That's
Okay.
also related to it,
Right.
which is like all these things you don't think about.
Right. That's what I was going to actually ask. Because
Yeah,
again,
because
you,
I go to like I had a whole stomach journey too because I was nauseous
okay.
all the time. I got a colonoscopy, everything was
Uh-huh.
fine. They couldn't really find anything, so they were like, "You have IBS." Because that's just
So,
kind of the blanket
yeah.
statement for when they don't know what's wrong.
If you don't know what to do with something.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's related to this apparently,
Okay.
which is interesting.
So
And I
again,
just noticed all these like little things about me
uh-huh.
that I've always been annoyed about. I've always gotten headaches.
Okay.
There's like a whole list of things where it's like little stuff, and I would tell the doctor, like, oh yeah, I'm like tired a lot. And they were like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay, well, do you have any other stuff? And then they'd be like, no, you're fine.
Right.
It's just you being tired. Or
Uh-huh.
like just
Mhm.
specific things like this where it's like, oh, okay, all of these really random symptoms,
Kind of actually make a bigger picture
they
of the
do.
person.
Yeah.
Hmm. No, and that's the
So that's been
hardest.
interesting learning.
No, because I do have quite a few patients with autoimmune, and it's sort of just figuring out. And sometimes the thing is unfortunately it doesn't take it away,
Yeah.
right? But like learning how to manage is usually the biggest thing, right?
Hmm.
So you've done a great job of like, yes, does this suck wearing this mouth thing?
Oh my gosh, it sucks so much.
Yes. But you're doing it, right?
I
Because you're
am.
like, I could just be mad and let my jaw be there, and then you end up with maybe it would be unfixable if you didn't do the
Hmm.
things, right? Working to find your symptoms, working to do your annoying PT
Hmm.
exercises, like,
Yeah, I do PT exercises. I have my TENS machine. I've
hmm.
started wearing compression socks on flights because I
Right.
travel a lot, and that's
Uh-huh.
helped actually.
Good. Okay.
Um, just because my knees after every flight would hurt
Okay.
because I
Uh-huh.
felt out of place. I felt
Okay.
like I had to cross my legs to have like a comfortable pelvis position, and then my knee would be like to the side weird and then hurt
Oh,
afterwards.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
compression socks have helped with the
they have,
travel.
they have. It hasn't
Okay.
like fully helped, but I've
Uh-huh.
made a difference for sure.
Okay. You pack your
Um,
yoga
I
things so you
pack my
can.
yoga things. I pack a lacrosse ball. I roll out
Uh-huh.
my feet because just walking
Uh-huh.
all day hurts. Standing hurts.
Okay. Right.
So I like roll everything out. I have my
Uh-huh.
TheraBand. I
Perfect.
have a big list of things that I travel with.
No,
Arnica.
right. I was like, but that's all, that's part of it, right? Like,
Mhm.
so even some of the other people we've talked to have talked about like how they manage their stuff, right? They're like,
Mhm.
I have to do this. They leave the house with their bag of
I
snacks,
have a
with their
mini foam
things.
roller.
Yes. Like they're like, this is my to-go bag
Yeah.
to function.
Uh-huh.
And as much as that sucks, that's also like, if you didn't imagine where you'd be.
Exactly. And I'll notice there are times
Uh-huh.
where with work I'm working
Mhm.
very long days and just don't have the
Right.
energy to do PT, but then I'll notice at the end of that I'm very stiff.
Uh-huh.
And when I go back to stretching and doing
Uh-huh.
like all of the things to help me, it does make a big difference. And I'm a lot
Hmm.
more not flexible, but I'm less stiff and it's
Okay.
just easier to
And it's also
do
interesting
things.
that you would notice that, like, because I've been telling some people on this that, like, doing stabilization work can actually make you better control your flexibility.
Yes,
Because instead of dumping into your joints, you're
exactly.
controlling it into there. So that's it's interesting that you said that, that you feel less stiff doing
Hmm.
like your strengthening stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So stomach stuff, jaw, general hypermobility.
Hmm.
You have the hearing stuff, but probably related to the jaw.
Hmm.
Any other funky things? Because again, and it is like a whole big like sometimes it feels like there's so many funky symptoms, right?
Hmm.
But any other things that you've noticed or
Hmm.
uh,
I have been getting massages every 3 weeks
uh,
because my neck
uh,
and my shoulders get
uh,
so tight
okay.
that they have to loosen, and that gives me headaches too.
Right, okay.
So just like tightness.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I just have to do so much
Like self-care.
self-care for my body to just work, which sometimes is really annoying. And then I
Right.
neglect it, and then I threw out my back last week.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
which was crazy because I've never
Uh-huh.
had that happen before.
Right.
And I had to text you because I couldn't get up for 20
Right.
minutes.
That's not ego. And I was like, and that's what we're working on. So that doesn't happen again.
That
Yes.
was horrible.
Yes.
You really feel grateful after that for
For
like
like,
movement and being
right.
able
When you
to,
can't get up from the
uh-huh.
thing.
I
Right.
couldn't lean over at all. I
Uh-huh.
couldn't wash my hands. Like, I had to very bend with my
Right.
abs. I couldn't put on socks. I
Yeah,
just
and
couldn't do
again, it's one of
anything.
those things that you wouldn't. So again, the crazy part is for someone that's hypermobile, you would think that you wouldn't get stiff, right? Because you're like, I'm so
Yeah.
bendy. But the
Yeah.
problem is your muscles and everything is working so
All
hard,
the time.
right? Which is probably why. So again, I totally like go with the massage. I like that you're loosening. Keep doing your stability exercises.
Hmm.
So and that is part of it. Like, you may have just thought the neck was contributing to my headaches, but again,
Hmm.
now you're like, I didn't
It's
know
the
my jaw was
jaw.
sliding, and that's a thing too.
Hmm.
So, and again, some of those things, if I'm not keeping up with my ab work, if I'm not keeping this, and you have a physical demanding job.
I do. I'm on my feet a lot.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's not like you're just like do do,
Uh-huh.
sorry, the cat will come in and out of our thing, but you have a very demanding job
Hmm.
and you do a demanding sport. And
Hmm.
so the fact that you are so unfortunately, just like everybody with pole, I'm always
Hmm.
like, you have to do the self-care, you have to do the
Yep.
things, but it is a little bit extra, which I can be exhausting as well.
And if I don't do it, I hurt myself
Yes.
accidentally.
And
So
then you
it's
get a bunch of weird videos of me being like, this is how to log roll. This is how to press. I'm so
get in the
sorry.
fetal position.
Right. This is how you're going to get out of the bed. So, question for you is then what if someone is starting this journey, what would you want? Like, what would your advice be? Someone who's just like, but I have this, but I have this, but I have this. Like, what is your advice? I know that's a big like thing to throw out there, but
Yeah. Good question. I feel like I found some hypermobile EDS Instagram pages that have just
right.
been helpful to be like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay, like this is what other people do that
Uh-huh.
helps them. And it's just nice to know
That maybe you're not
that
alone.
I'm not alone. That's
Uh-huh.
really nice because
Right.
it's like, oh, I just thought I had all these weird things
Right.
that no doctor has ever said were an issue.
Right.
And it's just so many weird things. So it's nice to hear like, oh yeah, like someone else deals with this and this is what they
Right.
do and
Uh-huh.
this is like a stretch that they do for this muscle and
Right.
here's something else that they use for
Uh-huh.
self-care.
Right.
Um, Having all my self-care things has been helpful. I have so
Mm-hmm.
many. I've been thinking about making a video of just how many things I have because
Right. I mean, I think you should.
there's so many. It's like I do pull, and then
Uh-huh.
here's what use to do pull. And I
Right.
have the S bar, and I
Yes.
have the TENS machine, which I use all the time. I have to
Uh-huh.
wear knee braces a lot when I'm just like walking around in the
Uh-huh.
world. Um, I have, yeah, lots of different braces for my wrists, and
Okay.
with we bought
Yeah.
the new ones. TheraBand stuff. I'm
And
sure
then
I'm forgetting a ton of
no, and
things.
the S bar actually, in case anybody doesn't know,
Yeah.
is this like curvy bar, and I think mine is like in the car, but it's curves around. It's got little knobbies on it, and it's a nice way to do like trigger point. Like sometimes
Hmm.
you don't have a wall, so you can just grab that bar. And I've been getting more people on it. I had
I like it.
one lady who was like using it while she was doing Zoom meetings, and people were like, "Why do you have a weapon?" But it is good. Like if you're stuck sitting or you're somewhere and you're just like, it's a nice way to do trigger point. That's like
Hmm.
kind of portable. It's a little big, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that's just, but yeah, I think
Uh,
you should do a video talking about your,
yeah.
I'm pro this, but
Yes, I have a mini Theragun that
Mhm.
I bring with me on gigs. I have a little foot massage thing
Oh
that when I'm at my
wow.
desk, I
Uh-huh.
can like at home, I can,
Right,
have
put
my
there.
do that because my
Uh-huh.
feet will get really tight and I'll roll them out with a ball and you just hear cracking sounds
Oh
at the end
gosh.
of the day, which
Okay.
is like, oh, I
Uh-huh.
didn't know
That was
that
a
feet had
thing.
that many joint. I mean, I'm sure they do. They
Uh-huh.
have so many bones, but you know what I mean. All these just different things
That you have to do.
that I have to do.
And it sounds exhausting. It sounds like ugh every day. And again, which we talked for therapy because again, they
Hmm.
can be like, here's your 50 exercises.
And for a while, I feel like I was doing
Uh-huh.
so many of them.
Right.
And that was great. I did that for a while, and
Uh-huh.
then life got busy, and
But that's okay. And then
I do
sometimes we
less.
revisit and then
Yeah.
we try to make it something that's doable with all the other things that you have to do.
Hmm.
Because I'm always pro stability exercises, but I also appreciate that you're doing all the self-care.
Hmm.
Um, how have you had such a positive attitude about everything?
Oh gosh.
It
I've
might just be
definitely
your
been,
personality, but
I think it's partially my personality. I think
uh-huh.
I vent to my therapist a lot about it. I'm
Okay.
like, this sucks.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do about it, It's
Right.
just how it is. So,
Uh-huh.
it's very annoying to have a jaw thing because I couldn't
Hmm.
talk with it at first and it looked weird and I feel
Uh-huh.
like I had to explain it to everyone I ran into.
Right. Okay.
Now it looks more like a retainer or like
Yeah.
Invisalign, so
Hmm.
that's not as much of a
Issue.
thing, but it was
Okay.
like bright pink before and just huge in my mouth,
Uh-huh.
which was weird. It looked like gum.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, like I don't know. I can't really do anything
Uh-huh.
about it. And I feel
Hmm.
like more knowledge is better. Like I feel like the
Right.
more I learn, the
Uh-huh.
like better I feel like, oh, okay, like
Right.
here's things I can do
Okay.
that will like help.
Right.
And just like the realization I had at first with you when I was like, oh, I do everything in a way that's
Uh-huh.
easier for me, but doesn't actually engage anything. Like
Right.
I just had to practice standing on my tippy toes.
Hmm.
And like I did point, but like
Right.
I had to like just the
Learn
smallest little
basic.
motions with you, like
Right.
clamshells where I barely open my legs and it doesn't feel like
Hmm.
I'm doing anything, but I have to think about so many things at once. I
Right.
have to think about engaging my abs
Uh-huh.
and not
Like hyperextend.
hyperextending my
Mhm.
knees and my
Right.
hips staying in line and like
Uh-huh.
using my glutes and all the
Right.
different things at once.
Uh-huh.
And that's hard
Yes.
because it's just a lot to think about because
It
I can,
is.
even when I do a plank,
Uh-huh.
I can move my core in like an infinite number of
Hmm.
slightly different positions and they all
Right.
feel correct. And I
Okay.
have to be like, okay, this is how I should be.
Right.
But I can make these little micro adjustments
Hmm.
and there's so many of them and it just takes a lot of thinking. So
Yes.
that's hard. But helpful to have like you checking
Uh-huh.
in on me and I feel like a community of people,
Right.
which is really helpful.
No, and again, I think what is hard is, right, you've learned a certain way to move.
Mhm.
And now you're like, shit, now I have to learn this again. And I remember when
I'm
there's
trying to think of more examples of that,
no, you're
but
totally fine. I remember you said that you had felt almost a little bit like you were starting over, like almost like you were learning like a baby, like
I
starting
know.
to like learn how to move again. And it was frustrating. And it is
Yes.
frustrating, right?
Uh,
Because you're like, well, I got this way, right? And
mhm.
I always, again, when I see people like do the push through their super bendy arms or hyperextend out on things, I'm like, you're achieving things, but I'll probably be seeing you later when you have arthritis or you can't move in these joints
Mm-hmm.
because you're not learning how to actually activate the muscles because you're
Mm-hmm.
dumping into those hypermobile joints.
And that was causing all these little injuries for
Mhm.
me with pole. Because
Right.
I would
And
just do things the way I did them, and then I would get tennis elbow, and I would do
mhm.
something to my knee, and I pulled my
Hamstring.
hamstring. So
Mhm.
that's been bothering me right now.
Right. Which
So
again, we're addressing, we have a list, but
we have
like,
a huge list.
right. But again, that's like, you want to be able to do pole. And my
Oh
goal
yeah,
is that you can keep dancing and keep doing
I
really
know,
cool
because that
things.
brings me joy. I
Right.
would be
So
very sad if I had to
we
stop.
want you to have joy.
Yeah, I need joy, right?
So we want you to have joy. And then, but also to have that, there is the work involved,
Hmm.
right? So the idea is cleaning this stuff, like cleaning it up, cleaning up the movements, getting you stable so that
Hmm.
you learn to work with the body that you have,
Hmm.
but then you can still do all this stuff. But again, doing amazing things. I see the progressions that you're making. So then you just get annoying messages from me that's like, do your stability
No, it's
stuff.
so helpful.
So,
I remember when I was making you check all my class schedules because I
yeah,
was overloading it, and I was like, Tracy, you have to tell me that I'm
yeah,
not allowed to take more than this many classes, and I have to do some yoga-y classes
right.
and like stability classes.
Yeah, so sometimes that is it. Sometimes having accountability,
It's
having
helpful.
kind of a team that works with you on stuff is great. Finding other practitioners who have experience or have,
Hmm.
and I feel like this is kind of in the year where a lot of people I'm like almost like breaking it to them like, oh, did you know you do this? And they're like, what? I didn't know my body did that.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Right. And I feel like this year I've been kind of like breaking it to people like, hey, your
Yeah,
body's doing these things. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's okay.
because it's normal before, because it's just how you do things, and then you start getting
Mhm.
injured a lot, and you're like, oh.
Right. And a lot of times your body will take it for a while, which was good. So I think it
Hmm.
was good they got you the therapy early,
Hmm.
but then it's like be free, right?
Exactly.
And then you kind of like work with that body for a while.
Uh-huh.
And then after a while it's like, no, it's no longer going to take this.
Uh-huh.
So I again I think it was collecting its bill
Yep.
of like we've got to do something or we're going to get hurt.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
um, I appreciate you even coming and like just sharing your story because sometimes
Yeah,
again, I think just like the same thing, right? In the community stuff, it's nice, as terrible as it sounds, it's nice to know that other people have this too. It
totally.
makes you feel maybe a little less crazy,
Oh
right?
my gosh, yes. It
Right?
definitely does. It's validating.
Hmm.
It's just nice to
Right.
hear other people's stories and relate to
Mhm.
them.
And
Like I said, I've heard all the Instagrams, and I'll
mhm.
just be like, that's me too.
Right.
So,
And everybody's different, right? Everybody's autoimmune journey is different,
mhm.
but a lot of things kind of have similar clusters, right?
Yes. Yep.
And so,
And
um,
there's a ton of types of EDS, but hypermobility is just one type. I think there's like 20 something types
oh,
I
wow.
learned.
Yeah.
And that's just one. And I
Right.
think my mom has it too.
Okay.
We were talking
Well, and you have
because
actually
it's
explored more
genetic.
with your
I
mom,
have, yeah.
right? About things that you were like, I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I didn't know I did this. I didn't know
Uh,
a doctor told me this when I was a toddler. Like,
right. That is,
but she didn't know that's what it was. And then she
yeah,
thought it was fixed. And,
right.
you
That you
know,
just did your rehab and you're good and you move
yeah.
on.
And I just complain a
Hmm.
lot. I feel like I'm very sensitive to
Uh-huh.
everything.
Uh-huh.
And so growing up, I'd be like, this hurts and
Hmm.
whatever. And I am dramatic. And I think that partially
Uh-huh.
was
Well,
like, oh, like she's just
being
feeling a
dramatic.
lot,
You
you
know,
know?
but I also think that people get labeled that way
Yeah, they do.
when you're like, but I have pain here, but I also have pain here, but I also have pain here.
And it's like, oh, you can't have that much. Like, it can't all be bad. But it's like,
Right.
no, actually,
It is.
it kind of is. It's not
Right.
debilitating,
Uh-huh.
like fully, you know? I mean,
Right.
I still do all these things,
Right.
but it's just not comfortable.
Yeah. And sometimes again, I'm annoying because I'm like, please tell me what's
It's
bothering.
not annoying.
Because like again, we're not gonna maybe, but it's just giving me ideas like here's what we need to stabilize, here's what we need to
Hmm.
tweak. Why is this causing? So it helps me put a picture as well
Hmm.
for like the things for you to focus on for therapy.
Hmm.
So, oh, and that now the cat will join us. So we're gonna have a podcast day.
Yes.
But thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
Yeah.
I'll probably annoy you for resources and maybe
No,
share
it's
them
great.
with that. Again,
Totally.
probably the best is like the more knowledge, like reading on your own, doing
Hmm.
things like that, like finding groups, finding people that support you.
Hmm.
Do you have any final thoughts or any things you want to share or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being understanding while my cat comes and says
cat.
hello. They're here for the journey as well. But yeah, again, so just take the compliment of how well you've done,
Thank you.
how you've taken so much that life is giving you, and just so many crazy, like, and again, you're like, well, this is happening. This is
And
happening.
sometimes you do feel crazy.
Right.
Because it's, like I said, I
Mhm.
can still do all these things.
Right.
It's not, I'm not,
You're not in a wheelchair. You're not what we would consider disabled.
Exactly. Because
Right.
I don't necessarily feel that way, but then
But you've
I
got
have
a
all
lot
these
to
other
come out.
issues.
Right.
So,
No, and it is
yeah.
like, why does my stomach hurt? Why do I have this? Why does my jaw
Why do I have headaches all the time? And because I've had headaches and stomach aches my whole life,
Right.
it's like, that's just how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh,
I could
there's another way.
I could do something about this. Yeah. So again, it gives a little bit of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll look forward to seeing your video of your self-care.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so thank you again.
Thank you. This was great.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing your story. And then, we get to torture you and do stability things.
Amazing.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. As always, whether we're listening to someone share their expertise in treating an area or just sharing their patient experience, we have also listed any of the resources or how to get hold of the practitioners on the resource page of the website for betterfittherapy.com. Always follow us on social medias, Instagrams, Facebooks for more information. Feel free to reach out or message if you would like to contact or you have additional questions in an area. And again, thank you for listening. We hope that you gained something from today's episode, and we'll see you next time.